Welcome to Health Club with Julia. I'm your host, health coach, and registered dietitian, Julia Campagna. I'm on a mission to bridge the gap between looking your best and living your life to the fullest. After years of over dieting, struggling with disordered eating, and destroying my social life, I finally found how to reach my dream physique without sacrificing the things I love. Now I'm sharing all my strategies and education with you. We'll be talking all things health, including hormones, metabolism, and lifestyle to help you cut out the confusion and start living. So get cozy and join the club. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Health Club with Julia podcast. As always, I'm so happy you are here. Today's episode is a little bit niche, so this is really for those who are currently involved in this. I feel like it's going to be most helpful for you, but can be helpful for someone in the future if you're thinking about having a baby soon, trying to conceive soon, anything like that. It could be helpful for you, or even farther along, like if you want another baby or a baby in general in like a year from now, you might want to save this, go back to it. But I want to talk today about getting through pregnancy nausea, because I feel like this is the hardest part of first trimester for a lot of women, is dealing with the nausea that comes on. And for some it's like unbearable, and for others it's non-existent. So you never know. Like, I had no idea how I was going to be, but regardless, if you have any sort of nausea, I feel like it is definitely the biggest obstacle with first trimester. Aside from the fact that like you have to wait for your first appointment, and like just the nerves of the first trimester, and you know, all of more of the risks that come with the first trimester. But physical symptoms, I feel like this is the hardest one. So I want to go over this. It's probably going to be a shorter episode just because I'm going to kind of just rattle off things that have either helped me or I know do help in general. But to give you context, for me and my personal experience with this, I did have pretty bad nausea for a couple of weeks. Now, I've talked to other women and I know that it can be so much worse than I had. I am honestly so grateful because I didn't have it that bad. Yes, during those weeks that I had it, it was miserable. Like, it really did take the life out of me, but I didn't have it for that long, and that was helpful. So I really only had the nausea from about weeks 6-ish. It started like right after Christmas for me, and it went until about 8.5, lingered into 9 weeks. So it was only like 3 weeks for me that I had to deal with it, where I know that some women deal with it for like a really long time, and I so feel for you. I could only imagine having to go through that longer. By the end of it, I was like, when is this gonna be over? When is, not pregnancy and stuff, I was just meaning like, when is the nausea gonna be over? But yeah, so luckily it was really not fun, but pretty short in the grand scheme of things for me. So I'm grateful for that. But anyway, there are still things that I did, because during that time, especially the first like 6-7 week mark, I was like out for the count for those 2 weeks, and then it slowly started to get better. But for those 2 weeks, I was like, what the hell can I do? Because how does somebody go through the day feeling like this all day? And yes, for me, it was all day long. It was worse. The worst times for me was first thing when I woke up. I literally couldn't even get out of bed. I had to have my husband go get me food and bring it into bed, because I couldn't move out of bed because I would wake up so nauseous. So morning was definitely the worst for me. And then at night, again, around evening, dinner time, I found that I was getting really nauseous again. So both morning and at night were probably my worst times, but it lingered all day long. And when I would vomit, it would usually be like either mid to late afternoon or the evening time. So yeah, it lingered pretty much all day. But there are, again, some things that I did to kind of help me, and things that I researched, and there are some things that I didn't necessarily do, but I, again, know in general that it can help. So I'll give you the things that I have experience with, and then things that I don't have experience with. But we'll start off with, I think, one of the bigger and easy, well, I say easier, but if you have food aversions, this probably isn't easy. But I think one of the biggest things to curb the nausea is having enough protein to curb that blood sugar spike. So in pregnancy in general, you are more susceptible to blood sugar fluctuations. And when you have a really big blood sugar spike and then drop, that is definitely a cause for nausea. So and I know that this is hard, especially again, like I have experience with this. All I wanted were kind of heavy carb meals like mac and cheese. I don't like mac and cheese. Like I'm somebody, every time I say that, people call me weird, but I don't really like mac and cheese. I'm just not that person. During this time when I was nauseous, all I wanted was mac and cheese, and not like the healthier for you version mac and cheese or homemade, no, like the Kraft store-bought mac and cheese. Like I literally just wanted that and sushi. And it was just very carb heavy things that I wanted because that I just felt like helped settle my stomach more. But when you have just carbs like that, you're going to get bigger blood sugar spikes and drops. So it's really important to also get protein in your diet to curb that blood sugar spike so it's not spiking as high and not dropping as low. So that was something that I tried to be mindful of as much as possible. Again, I didn't really have aversions to eating meat. In the beginning when the nausea was really bad, I couldn't really tolerate the smell of it. The smell made me gag, but eating it I was fine for the most part. So that was helpful. I could still have all of my regular like animal protein meats for dinner and stuff like that. But I would just try to focus on like where could I get this in. For me, a protein source that really helped was yogurt. Cold foods can help. And I found that yogurt, Greek yogurt, was pretty helpful for me. One, because it was so easy to make, and if I was just like feeling really nauseous and couldn't stand up that long to make food, I would just quickly grab like either a yogurt cup that I had in the fridge or just pour some yogurt into a bowl. And I would put like some granola and stuff with that, but it was also cold again, and that did help me. So that was one that I had a lot. To kind of get some protein in and help with that blood sugar when I just couldn't tolerate anything. Like I couldn't tolerate eggs at all, so I would have yogurt in the morning, and that would help. So protein. Protein is the first thing. I know that it can be difficult because all you want are carbs, and a lot of the times there's an aversion to meat and animal-based proteins, but try your hardest to get protein in. I'm telling you, it's going to help with that blood sugar, and that is really going to help with nausea. Second thing that I did, and also in general I know help, is having smaller, more frequent meals and having snacks on hand than just waiting for your regular meal times. So pre-pregnancy, I wasn't a snacker. I had breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then I would usually have like an evening snack before dinner, and then like some sort of dessert after dinner, but it wasn't like I was having food all the time. Like I would eat, and I would go like 3 hours until my next meal, and then again like another 3 or 4 hours, and that's just like how I was pre-pregnancy. Kind of as soon as I got pregnant, but especially during this nausea phase, I felt like I was eating all the time. And it's funny because I actually think I videotaped this in the moment, but I have to upload that to Instagram from the drafts somewhere along the line. But it's funny because you like don't want food when you're nauseous. You're just like, I don't really want to eat. My stomach hurts. You don't really have much of like food isn't an appeal to you at that point, or at least it wasn't for me. But the only thing that helped me was eating frequently. And when I mean frequently, I would go like every hour and a half, I would have a snack. So I was eating really frequently, but again, I think that really helped me because I was getting in nutrients more often throughout the day and keeping my stomach feeling full, not overly full, but like satisfied, so that it kind of kept that acidic-y nausea feeling at bay. So I had a lot of snacks during the day. I made sure I went to the grocery store too. I learned that the hard way. The first like couple days that I was nauseous, I was not prepared for it, and I didn't really have that many snacks in the house. Ugh, those days were the worst because I would go so long without eating and then be so nauseous. Not good. So I learned, and I started stocking up on some quick, easy snacks. One thing that I had always on hand were apples. Apples and peanut butter, because you're getting some protein from peanut butter. Whatever that combo is, it did the trick all the time. Like that's a lot of the times what I would have when I first woke up in the morning and I couldn't get out of bed. A lot of the times it was an apple and peanut butter. And that was really great for me. And I would have that during the day as well if I needed to. But anyway, I stocked up on a lot of easy, grabbable snacks that I could have in between. And yes, I would try to make meals. Like I would have a dinner still. I would have lunch, which was usually just like leftovers from the day before. But in between those, I would make sure I had snacks on hand to keep me feeling satisfied and keep that nausea at bay. So smaller, more frequent meals definitely does help a ton. That's probably, I would say probably that's the biggest one that helped me, is just making sure I was eating very frequently. Then number 3 goes along with number 2, is never getting too hungry. Again, this goes along with the blood sugar too. If you're going too long between meals, you might have a blood sugar drop, and that's going to cause some nausea and stomach upset. Also, I feel like eating helps with stomach acid levels, and it can help to alleviate some of that acidic feeling. So if you have an empty stomach, obviously that acidic feeling will come back. You're having those blood sugar drops, and that's going to cause nausea. So I never let myself get too hungry. And again, I learned that the hard way, because in the beginning I didn't have a lot in the house, and I would go long periods, and that's when I felt my absolute worst, was when I went long periods in between meals. So again, that kind of goes right along hand with number 2, but more specifically, don't go too long between meals. Don't let yourself get super hungry, because I'm telling you, it's just going to make it so much worse. Number 4 is having foods high in vitamin B6. So vitamin B6, without getting too sciencey, it basically supports different neurotransmitters, which impacts your digestive symptoms. So this one is like research backed, that vitamin B6 is helpful. Now, there are some times when people get really nauseous and it's like unbearable. You can go to your doctor and ask about vitamin B6, and they might give you that in supplement form. I know that is a thing that you can do. I never had to do that. I didn't have it that bad that I needed any form of supplement to help, but you can. If it's really bad, you can go talk to your doctor about vitamin B6, and that has been shown to help improve the nausea. Otherwise, if you have moderate nausea like I did, but I didn't need the supplement, I just made sure I was getting foods that were high in vitamin B6 to help support that through whole foods. So this is found in fish like salmon, organ meats like liver, which I didn't really have either of those. I stayed away from fish. That sounded disgusting to me. But things that I did have that you can also find B6 in that's more mainstream is beef, poultry, starchy vegetables like potatoes, regular potatoes or sweet potatoes, chickpeas, bananas, sunflower seeds, pistachios. These are all really great sources of vitamin B6. So if you're feeling nauseous, again, up your vitamin B6. This can be really helpful. And if you need to, again, you can talk to your doctor about supplement form of vitamin B6 if it's really bad. But otherwise, try to get it through whole foods. And even still, even if you are taking the supplement form, I would still try to get it through whole foods, because again, you're going to just only benefit from that. So yeah, foods high in vitamin B6, make sure you're prioritizing those. Number 5 is ginger tea or bubbly beverages. So ginger is obviously, I feel like everybody knows ginger is something that does soothe your stomach. So I had ginger tea on hand all the time. I would have that at least once a day, if not 2 or 3 times a day. And it also helps, like, I don't know, it's winter time, so I always wanted like a warm drink anyway. So yeah, ginger tea was a close friend of mine during that. But also bubbly beverages. So again, going back to stomach acid, bubbly or carbonated beverages can help with that stomach acid, and that's going to help settle some of that nausea. So for me, I got like LaCroix, that's just sparkling water. So there's like no sugar and stuff like that in it. So I got some LaCroix, and I also would get some poppies or Olippops, like the ginger ale version of Poppy or Olipop, the Coke version of Poppy or Olipop. I would get those and have those on hand. Now, I feel like some people are like, don't have too many Poppies or Olippops. And yeah, I mean, I guess you could moderate it a little bit, but I've had them. They worked for me to settle the nausea, and honestly, there's not that many like negatives to having those. But again, you can talk to your doctor about Olipop's, poppies, but yeah, I find that they're fine. But anyway, carbonated beverages, ginger tea, those are very helpful as well for settling nausea. Another kind of like herbal thing going along with that, number 6, is peppermint. So you can have peppermint tea, but another thing that you can have, which I think is beneficial because you don't like have to make it, is getting some peppermint oil and having that on hand. Peppermint essential oil, you can just like kind of sniff that. I never had to do that either. I never got the peppermint oil and had to sniff it. I do have peppermint essential oils, but I never had to sniff it. I do have, though, a peppermint tallow moisturizer, and I did at one point sniff that. And I feel like, I don't know, it was like in moisturizer form. It wasn't like the oil itself. So I didn't feel like it helped too greatly, but I do feel like in the moment it helped settle me for enough time to like go grab a snack or something like that. So anyway, peppermint oil can be very beneficial as well. So you can just like get a little vial of peppermint essential oil, and you can just kind of sniff that if you're feeling really, really nauseous. And I've heard that that does kind of cut out the nausea for at least short term. So that's something that's fairly easy to do as well. Number 7 is hydration. Ooh, this one was a big one for me because in general, when you're pregnant, saliva gets thicker for a little while. And I actually this was something that surprised me. I did not know that that happened, and then it started happening to me. I'm like, is this normal? Am I just really dehydrated? What's going on? And then a like forum thing popped up in my email because I'm on baby list, so I get like all the forums and emails, and there was a section on thick saliva, and that, for whatever reason, made it so much worse. Like, I couldn't swallow, like, it was, my saliva got, this is so in-depth, but my saliva, like, got so thick at one point, which apparently is normal during pregnancy, during your first trimester, but it got so thick that, like, it tasted weird going down my mouth, like, it was not fun. So that is a pregnancy symptom, aside from being hydrated, but that is something that does happen, or happened to me at least. And I was like, this is so bad, like, I feel like I have cotton mouth, like, it's terrible. And that made me feel even more dehydrated, and that made it so much worse. But hydration in general, 1, can help with that thicker saliva. 2, hydration in general is really important, again, for nausea and keeping that at bay. That is, dehydration is one of the top causes of nausea. And actually, fun fact, it was a long time ago, I was probably like 11 or 12 years old. I was really young. I was actually hospitalized for dehydration, and my symptoms were dizziness. I could not even open one eye. If I opened an eye, I was throwing up. So I couldn't open my eyes, literally. It was funny thinking back now. Like, my mom took me to the ER, obviously, and she had to guide me to the car, out of the car, into the ER, because I couldn't open my eyes, because if I did, I was throwing up. And it was just everything was spinning if I opened my eyes. So anyway, that's severe dehydration, so don't let yourself get to that point. But anyway, when I was severely dehydrated, I would not stop throwing up. Again, if I opened my eyes, I was immediately throwing up. So nausea and vomiting is one of the biggest symptoms of dehydration. So if you are not hydrating, that is also going to lead to a lot of nausea. So make sure that you are hydrated. I feel like water is iffy because, I don't know, during that time, I didn't really like the taste of water. Not that water has a taste, it's just like, it was bland, and I was nauseous already, so having just water sitting in my stomach just didn't really feel that great. So what you can do, and what I do recommend, actually, if you can, is get electrolytes and put them in your water anyway. That is still beneficial regardless of the nausea for pregnancy, so might as well start doing that now, and that can just add some flavor and help a little bit with it not just like sitting weird in your stomach. So you can use electrolytes or hydration packets in your water. Also, other forms of liquid do count as towards hydration. So teas the carbonated beverages, those are all counting towards your hydration. I still would aim to get like regular water in with electrolytes if you need to during the day, but you can use other things like broths, teas, carbonated beverages. Those all count for your hydration during the day. But anyway, number 7, hydration. Please, please, please make sure you're hydrated. Then number 8 is just giving yourself extra rest. Honestly, like, again, if you know, you know, but for me, those first couple of weeks of the nausea, I was out for the count. Like, I couldn't, and I own my own business and I run my own business, so like I had to do things. But I literally, like, on my check-in days with my clients, I would like film a check-in and then have to go rest, and then get up again, film a check-in, and have to go rest. Like, it was not fun, but if you can give yourself some extra rest and just laying down and not doing much, then do that. It's not glamorous. It's not like the fun and sexy part of pregnancy by any means. Nausea is really, it can be really hard to get through, but just allow yourself rest. And I feel like a lot of women get down themselves because they're like, oh, I wanted to keep a consistent workout routine, or I wanted to eat really well, and I wanted to do all these things when I'm pregnant, but now I'm so nauseous, I can't go to the gym, I can't eat well, I just feel like I need to sit on the couch and I can't move all day long. And that is okay during this time, and that is probably what you're going to be doing more often than not, but you have to be okay with giving yourself some extra rest. So sometimes it just is what it is, and you're going to have days that are a little bit better than others, but those days where you're really just not feeling it at all, just rest if you can. I always say, well, I don't always say it out loud, but I had been thinking in my head when I was going through this time, like, I can only imagine people who have to go into work and they don't have the reprieve of taking off, because I work for myself, so luckily, days that I was really bad, I would lay down and I wouldn't get much done during that day, and I just had to be okay with that. But if I had to go into work and do that, God bless you all, because no. just no. That is a no for me. But anyway, just allow yourself that extra rest and don't feel bad about it. Your body just like needs to not do much during that time. So give yourself that extra rest. And last like extra bonus here that I had seen a few times, because I was like, what the hell do I do? Because I'm so nauseous, is Preggy Pops. They are from Amazon. I don't know if you can get them anywhere else, but from what I had read in different forums and stuff, is Preggy Pops. They're like these little sour candies that you just suck on. And sour, again, can also help with nausea. To me, they weren't that sour, though. I don't know. I had way more sour things, but I don't know. That's a different story. But anyway, these Preggy Pops are supposed to be helpful. I did get a box of them, and I brought them with me everywhere. If I was leaving the house, I had at least 3 on hand, just in case. In the mornings, I would suck on those before I went to go make a meal, because again, like, I just need something in between all that. What I will say, for me personally, I don't think they were magic. I don't think they totally got rid of my nausea. But again, I think short term it helped to subside it enough that I was able to like get up, go make a meal, do something, and not feel like I was going to pass out and fall on the ground. So I do think that they helped somewhat. I definitely still would recommend them, because again, like, it's really easy to pack with you and bring with you places, or just have on hand. Like, I literally carried that box everywhere. From my bedroom to the couch, I brought that box with me. I had them all over. But they're really easy to obviously transfer and bring, because it's just a little like mint size thing. But again, personally, if you're gonna get them, I didn't feel a huge change with them, but it was enough to hold me over until I could find a better solution to help with my nausea at that moment in time. So that's what I'll say about that. But anyway, that's like my list of things that I did and or I know help in general. So if you're going through this, save this, come back to it, replay it, jot these things down. If you are planning in the near future, again, you still might want to save this and go back to it, because it may hit you pretty hard. But anyway, that's kind of how I got through it. That's things that can help. This was a fairly quick episode, but I hope that you guys took something away from this and it was helpful for you guys. As always, if you have any questions, you can either put them in a comment below or reach out to me on Instagram, which I will link in the show notes. But otherwise, I'll see you guys at the next episode.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Health Club with Julia podcast. If you loved the episode, share the podcast and tag me, and subscribe so you don't miss any further episodes. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a DM. Thanks for being a part of the club. See you next time.